So good morning. Welcome to our August quarterly resident meeting. Our agenda today will include officers' reports, official business of proposed constitution changes, and reports from the committees of the association. So the agenda will proceed on the screen. The speakers will proceed without being individually introduced, but you will see their names and positions on the screen. This meeting is being live. They're having trouble with the live stream this morning, but it is being recorded and will be put on YouTube and Channel 51. Some of the speakers have submitted written reports, which I will summarize for you. But I remind you that all of the reports in full will be printed and distributed to all residents. So that also means you don't have to sit here and take notes of what you might see on the screen this morning. I'm asking our secretary, Laura Hill, now to certify for us that a quorum of members are present in the Murfield room for this meeting. We have a quorum. Laura says we have a quorum here. We thank you for your attendance and your participation. And we'll begin with a report from our Executive Director, Rita Doherty.
Good morning. Happy Monday. It's a little toasty out there today, isn't it? Today's a big day. Our new culinary / food and beverage director, Matt, has started. So we're very excited about that. You'll be seeing him in the dining room working around a little bit and seeing and meeting all of you. The priority for the first 30 days is really just to get to know you and figure out the operations and the associates and figure out kind of the direction. And then from there, we'll work on some of the important things that we know we need to work on, like the steam table, some consistency in the food, the infection control practices, and things like that. As far as the health center or Alderwood, we're still waiting for the life safety team to come. I know some of you, we've talked about the Ohio Department of Health has come and they have blessed us. That's a great step. Life safety came and we, because it's not a new build, it is a reconstruction, if you will. In the attic, they have the sticks that hold up the rafters. Were fire treated in 1996, and current practice is that each stick has a label, and because it was done in 1996, not all of them have labels. They were stamped, and sometimes they were cut. The stamps were cut off, so we had to do some digging and make sure we found the appropriate documentation back from 1996. So we're very hopeful, that they'll be here this week. Obviously, we really would like to move into Alderwood and get things rolling with regard to that. The other fun things that are happening, we obviously have town hall tomorrow, so we're going to be talking a lot about the things that we're working on. But I would just like to say here and now, we've had 2 instances in the last month where we've had a resident have a medical emergency and not have their pendant close to them, and we found them through the security checks. So if you wear the pendant, which we do recommend that you wear the pendant, it would be very wise to have those. You never know when you're going to have an emergency, and it's always great to have those close when and if you need them. I can answer any quick questions if you have any. Okay, we'll have a great meeting, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We're going to let the speakers take down their mask while they're speaking, so I hope that will help the sound in the room. So my brief report is since our last meeting in May, we've had warm summer weather and a flurry of activity at Friendship Village. There are new residents moving in, hooray! We're glad to see them. We've had outdoor recreation, picnics, concerts, and energetic wiffle ball game last Friday. I sense more energy also in the dining rooms as I hear you dining and visiting and sitting for conversation after you've eaten in the dining rooms. The new Touchtown app is challenging for us to communicate in a new way. And I hope you are finding this helpful and are learning to use all the information that is provided. Using the kiosk in the lobby has become a learning curve. It is not yet there, but those without smartphones and computers will be helped by our volunteer ambassadors to learn how to register for programs on the kiosk. Today, you will hear of the work of our resident committees. They have been meeting regularly, sharing information, and working with our leadership team to provide all of our activities. I've enjoyed the opportunity to attend many of the meetings, and I remind you that any resident can come to a committee meeting, even if you are not a member of the committee. So find a committee that is of interest to you and pay attention on the schedule for their meetings. Today, I've also asked the leader of our book club to give you a brief report. It is not an official resident association committee, but a very active part of our community. I appreciate the work of the other officers of our association. We have been working very hard on some of the issues that we will be discussing later in this meeting. So I thank each of them and the committee chairs and the members of our executive committee. Thank you very much. The next report is from our Vice President, Larry Kennedy, who is on vacation today. Larry has reported regularly about the number of comment cards. He is the person responsible for gathering those cards. So we continue to encourage you to use the comment cards and the extraordinary service cards to give input to our leadership team. Larry reports those cards to Rita every Monday morning, and they are handed to the managers of each department. So know that your comments are quickly passed on and they are paid attention to on a very regular basis. During July, there were over 50 or 60 cards submitted and over 30 extraordinary cards recognizing our associates. Those cards for recognizing our associates feed into the Associate of the Month program. So that's a way in which you can nominate somebody for that process. The culinary cards this month were a reaction to the announcement about the bridge at the Bailey at Bridge Park, as well as we continue to have a lot of comments about culinary. So use your cards to have your comments attended to.
Outside of the fact I've got this caught on my glasses. I'd be better off probably just talking and not even worrying about it. Thank you. From the board perspective, as is the custom and the tradition of the board, it does not hold a formal meeting during the month of July. Nonetheless, as you could expect from the self-management move with LCS as well as Bridge Park, it's been a very, very active month for sure. And those are significant efforts and significant time required to get those work done. In addition to that, there are also a series of committees that continued to meet likewise. The Strategic Planning and Executive Committee, the LCS Committee, Corporate Compliance, Charitable Giving, Marketing, Human Resources, all remained engaged and very active. You put all of that together, and it comes up to be a significant effort and a lot of time to go into that, which is only the right way to do it. The July break, however, does give us an opportunity to take a step back, and take stock, if you will, of what really could be characterized at this particular time as the most far-reaching period of time in Friendship Village history. When we step back again and look at, in one composite way, all of the things that are in the process of being implemented or have already been implemented, it becomes very significant and very hopeful for the future. So let's look at them. These are not new. We've heard about these, we know about these. The individual things, yes. The point of all this is you put this all together into one big package and look at it that way. The move to self-management, the initiation of the Bailey at Bridge Park, initiating in a step-by-step fashion the 3-year strategic plan, approving the budget, anticipating the opening of the Alderwood Health and Rehab Center, as Rita mentioned, approaching the conclusion, the conclusion, of the master plan with construction of the Rowan House Memory Care Unit, as well as the north hallways, which are about to start. Building of the Friendship at Home program to the point where now there are 400 plus families engaged in all of that. So here again, from a board perspective, you put all of this together, and then you add on top of that operational issues of COVID, touchdown, as Jean mentioned, the TV system, and it becomes an extremely impressive list that does not happen unless or until there is a clear sense of purpose, vision, determination, consistent dedication to Friendship Village and to residents. And that is certainly the characteristics, and there are many more, that activate how this board functions on a regular basis. Still nothing is perfect. There's no claim of perfection here. There's a lot of work left to be done. Yet again, if we step back and look at all of this as a whole and not as each individual piece, the future is very bright. Thankfully, those of us who are lucky enough to be at Friendship Village as residents can move ahead into the future really with the confidence that Rita, the leadership team, associates are continuing and will continue to be here and work tenaciously for all of us on a regular basis, just as they have continuously up to this point on the issues we know about. So further, as in the past, the board will also be maintaining its focus that Friendship Village continue to be the premier retirement community in Central Ohio. Even further than that, I've been very impressed with a quote that I read about from Craig Flickinger in an email. Some of you have heard this before, but I want to repeat it again because I think it says and captures so much about the future. Here's what Craig said. They, the board, realize this is only gets you where you are today, and they're not where you want to be tomorrow. I believe it demonstrates a forthright interest in the organization's future and the well-being of residents. I believe our board has shown that by their actions, they want to continue a bright future for residents and certainly for the village. I agree with that quote. I think that's correct, and I hope that together we share that view. Thank you very much.
Now we have some official business of the Resident Association to tend to this morning. First of all is the approval of the minutes of our last meeting on May the 10th. I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes which were distributed to all residents. Dick Gast, is there a second? Bob Bird, thank you. Any questions about those minutes? All those who would approve the minutes, say aye. Anyone opposed or abstaining? Thank you very much. Now we move to consideration of constitution changes. These were distributed to all residents 2 weeks ago. So I'll have a motion to consider those changes.
I make a motion to adopt the changes recommended to the Resident Association Constitution. Are they going to be on the screen? Okay. And they are on the back of your agenda this morning.
Is there a second to that motion? Bob Bird seconds that. As the maker of the motion, I will ask Laura if she would like to speak to that motion and give you further information. No, Laura, please, first. And then we will have discussion of those motion.
Okay. The changes to the Constitution have resulted from several factors. In the past, the election of officers was done at the annual meeting in January. Obviously, because of the pandemic last year, that was unable to happen. So an election was held in December. More residents participated in that election, even though we couldn't gather together, and because we couldn't gather together, than ever in the past. The proposed changes to the Constitution speak to the ability for more residents to participate in elections. Again, the Executive Council approved these changes and were distributed to residents 2 weeks ago. And questions have begun to ask about how the voting process is going to happen this year. And the Executive Council is in process right now of working through how the election will happen this fall, probably in December.
Right, thank you, Laura. Now we can discuss. On the screen are the first 2 articles that are affected, and then the next from Article 10 is information about elections and what the Constitution says about those. So I invite discussion of those now. Okay, Jack, give him a microphone, please.
Good morning. I'm Jack Spees from...
Hold up the microphone, please.
I'm
Jack.
sorry. Good morning. I'm Jack Spees from... I live in resident in Ash Run. And first, I'd like to thank whoever had a hand in crafting these fine resolutions. I'd like to thank them for all their hard work. And then, next, I would like to direct your attention to the 4th line from the bottom of the resolutions, which says the voting will be conducted as described in the bylaws. Now, in the interest of clarity and precision, I would respectively submit the following motion: that line be replaced with the following: the procedures for conducting a secret ballot will be as described in the bylaws.
Okay, with that motion, is there a second to that motion? Okay, I see Graham's hand. Okay, Anything further you would like to say about that, Jack?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Is there any other person who would like to speak to this? Okay, we will take a vote then on amending the proposal so that that sentence reads, "The procedures for conducting a secret ballot will be as described in the bylaws." All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Abstaining? Okay, I believe we have changed that then. So we will proceed then with any further discussion on the proposed changes as now amended. Is there any further discussion on our main motion as amended? Okay, all in favor of approving these changes to our Constitution as amended just recently, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you all for your consideration. I do appreciate the number of residents who spent time considering what those changes said and meant. And we look forward to being able to have an election that many of you can participate in. So we will proceed now with the reports from our resident association committees. Ned. Oh, you've got that. Okay. That works good.
Morning, I'm Ned Dwyer, Chair of Charitable Giving Committee. I was sitting over there, so I didn't realize this screen was even on. I can't see them over there. So at any rate, the focus of Charitable Giving Committee is gratitude. That's our singular focus. We're grateful for our own lives, for the lives of our families, for new friends, and for colleagues. Jean asked that each of us make a 2 to 3 minute report. Timing now, Jean. And we cleverly had it set up for slides. Are the slides available? Oh, they're good. So there are three major items in this report. The first is the review of the charitable funds. Resident Benevolent, of course, supports those people who've had some financial mishaps and downfalls, victims of the market when it goes down, can't afford to stay here. So at Charitable Giving, we support them. We have Friendship Village Scholarship Fund, the $340,000 balance. In Resident Benevolence, there was $345,000 balance. We gave $145 out last year. This year we gave out $24,915 in scholarships. To that amount, another $10,500 was given for 3 scholarships as well. Capital projects are things where people like Joan and Don Herr gave funds for particular objects and things here at Friendship Village. So it's an in and out fund. There's $52,000. Community enrichment, which used to be a memorial fund, has $17,000. $15,000 was distributed. And then finally, the health service fund has $126,000 in it. That fund also generally happens when people give something for a particular project in the healthcare. During the past year, if you add up all of those balances and all that's been received, our receipts, our gifts were 72% higher than the prior year. It's a very generous contributions. Second, on July 14th, Friendship Village held the scholarship ceremony. 10 scholarships were awarded, each $3,500 for a total of $35,000. If you were here, you remember with tear and joy, we heard each of them talk about the impact a scholarship makes. Third point, to support the Friendship Village Memory Care, on September 14 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Friendship Village Dublin will host the first ever garden show, featuring the gardens that we have here. And in the garden show, there'll be 9 areas set aside for different aspects of how we define wellness at Friendship Village. There are a number of corporate sponsors who've come alongside this already, and the sponsors will be thanked that evening, starting at 5:30 in the Legacy Dining Room patio. And then finally, if any resident is interested in learning more about our Friendship Village programs of charitable giving, you're invited to a special meeting that will feature a panel of residents. September 27th, 1 p.m., Betsy will lead the panel. So 13 residents and Betsy Gillespie serving on this committee, thank you for your generous contributions. Any questions?
The really good news is that Friendship Village of Dublin has hired the new culinary director. As Rita told you before, he is Matt Schenk, and he comes with an impressive resume. And I have personally spoken to Aaron and Marissa, and they are excited that he will help to make improvements in our technology, our infection prevention process, and our serving processes in the dining room. Second, the Sunday brunch is back. Everyone seems very excited about that. There are still a few things missing. That is because we have issues with preparing them, so just please be patient. The latest food committee meeting was on July 6th, and the focus of the meeting was to talk with Aaron, our chef, about our food preferences. Since that meeting, there have been many improvements, namely hard tacos on the taco bar, more veggie options, and onion rings as a side option. Chicken wings were discussed, but they will not be available until the cost of wings comes down from $4 a pound. The next meeting will be in September after Matt Schenk gets his feet wet. Questions?
The Art Committee met on July the 13th at 3 p.m. in the Creative Arts Center. And those attending were Ann Dipple, Chairman, Jean Brandt, Norm Dellner, Dottie Dyer, Carolyn Schottenstein, Dick Wood, and Ann Vega, our art instructor, and Jean Forbes, President of our Resident Council, and Jill Cameron, our Community Life Supervisor. And our topics of discussion were plans. This is an ongoing thing. We hope it'll be finished soon, but we're still discussing plans for improving the lighting in our art center. Also, we have a new art exhibit coming up the 18th of August, and this will be presented by the resident artists. It should be a good exhibit. And then coming, some new things will be coming this fall. We'll be having some more ceramic classes and more photography, digital photography classes, and then also flower arranging this fall. But also, don't forget, we're still planning to have our bazaar on October the 16th. We're still hoping that those plans can go forward, and we're looking forward to that. Thank you. Okay.
Good morning. As the sign says, I think, I don't know, but I'm Monica Dunn. I'm chairman of the Wellness Committee. And so the Wellness Committee met July 22nd, was attended by staff and residents, and we focused on 4 areas. We set aside 10 minutes for a Q&A for the members who might have specific problems with Touchtown, and we had staff there who were willing to help answer their questions, and they were very grateful. Moving ahead, the next focus was the new program called Step On, which is to learn more about fall prevention, balance, etc. And Mike Korstoff spoke to us and explain more about the program. This program is now started. And there was some question about why it was limited to only 12 people. This is an evidence-based program, and the learning research says that for aging students, the best learning situation is to hold the groups to 12 to 14 people. So that's why it's only 12 people. And he announced that later in the year, another session of this great program will be offered. Junie Joseph, who is, as you know, our wellness and community director, spoke to the committee and reviewed this, the 7 pillars of wellness. And I'm sure some of you in the audience are participating in the Buddy program, where residents are encouraged to invite staff members to exercise with them and work out together. And so what was discussed is that there are more staff people eager to join residents and are waiting in the wings. So we want to encourage residents to join this program. It might make exercising a little more enjoyable if you have a buddy to do it. So the next form of this program in engaging staff with residents will focus on nutrition. The last part of our meeting was focusing on Adventure Club. And so, you know, we had, I'm sure you all know, and some of you participated in the Dublin pedestrian bridge, where we bused to the bridge, walked over the bridge. We had a beautiful night and enjoyed a nice menu at a local restaurant. We then focused lastly on the Adventure Club that the Wellness supports. And just recently, a busload of residents traveled to a goat farm where the participants participated in goat yoga. If you have never tried it, you might want to in the future. It was a lot of fun. Little yoga, but a lot of goat and a lot of fun. So Jeannie announced that we will be doing active aging in the near future. And then she only gave us one hint about what it will be. So if you own a cowboy hat, she said, get it off the shelf, dust it off. You will probably need it for active aging. Thank you very much. Need that.
Good morning. I'm Lois Fulmer, and I'm chairman of the Spiritual Care Committee. The Villager, for the month of August, had a good article all about our committee. I hope you have had a chance to look it over. The article tells you all about what we do, the things we have tried to accomplish in the past, and what we hope to accomplish in the future. And I hope, as I just said, that if you have a chance, please look it over. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with anybody who is on the committee or give me a call, please. The committee has just started plans for Operation Christmas Child. This is a project that we did last year with your generous help. Please watch for publicity on it. We are hoping that you will be cooperating and helping us as much this year as you did last year. There will be another hymn sing, and that's to be on September the 23rd. As the date gets closer, we will have more information for you. The birthday cards continue to be delivered, and the prayer chain is active. The box that is for requests for the prayer chain is located now on the desk in the memory corner, and that is off the main lobby. Our treasurer reports that we have a bank account consisting of $4,094.91, and that was the balance as of the 30th of July. Are there any questions? Thank you.
I'm Mary Lou Holloway, and this is Judy Lee. We're co-chairs of the Healthcare Committee. A copy of the QAPI, that stands for Quality Assurance Performance Improvement, news brief pertinent to nursing homes was distributed with the agenda packet for review prior to the June 15th meeting. Key points were highlighted regarding performance improvement, engagement of residents and family in performance improvement activities, utilizing the Residents' Healthcare Committee as a source for performance improvement, definitions of benchmark and threshold, and the 4 active performance improvement teams in place in Jessica's and Seth's areas. Cindy Gatens, retired resident rehab nurse, and Jessica Riker provided a presentation on health and benefit coverage related to rehabilitation. Jessica explained rehabilitation definitions and clinical team partnerships. Medicare coverage was explained relating to skilled nursing home care. Performance ratings were reviewed based on clinical data measures for quality of resident care in nursing homes.
Cindy provided interview information from 3 anonymous residents' rehabilitation experiences in a Friendship Village of Dublin physical therapist. She explained pre-surgery factors to assess for follow-up rehab plans. Cindy stated we have a great team in place with Amber RN and Ava social worker to guide our residents in their decision-making and plans for their level of determination and rehab planning. Ava Eisel, Friendship Village of Dublin Residents Navigator, will provide a presentation at the September 21st Healthcare Committee meeting. She will address follow-up questions, metrics, and how she is utilized as a resource.
The next report is from the program committee submitted by Lois Meredith. Spring began with many exciting things: special music, wine down Wednesday, outdoor cocktail parties held in the Legacy Courtyard, and our Derby and Preakness parties. Mother's and Father's Day special events were held and well attended. Dining out events have been restarted, and all of us are glad to get out and about for a different dining experience. We have welcomed summer with outdoor concerts, more special music, breakfast, lunch, and dinner opportunities to dine off of campus. Some coming events that are promised in this area: more outdoor concerts, a sock hop, more special music, and outdoor trips. A trip is planned to the Decorative Arts Center. The theater transportation will resume this fall, and a Johnny Steiner event is planned for the future. Those are all things that we have enjoyed in the past and will look forward to. So watch on Touchtown for these opportunities. Submitted by Lois Meredith. The Environmental Services Report has been submitted by Jane Parnes. This committee has met 3 times this quarter. They meet on a regular basis each month, and there's very productive and lively exchanges of information and concerns between the committee members and the staff. Jane has listed for us the staff members who contribute in the area of environmental services: Seth White, Pam Collins, William Stone, Brian Garabrandt, Sally Cohen, Angela McKeever, and Andy Howland are all parts of this team with individual assignments of their areas of responsibility. So when you submit a work order, it goes to the appropriate person amongst this team. So that information is much more detailed in the report you will receive from this committee.
Good morning. I'm Jack Pettit, Chair of the Associate Appreciation Committee, and there has been no involvement by the committee this quarter. And as of July 2nd, 2021, we have $17,668.44 in the fund that will carry over to the 2021 Voluntary Contribution Program that will occur in November. Respectfully submitted, the Association Permitted Committee, Jack Pettit, Ann Barnes, Bill Evans, and Laura Hill. Any questions? Thank you.
Good morning. The Village Garden Committee has had a very successful growing season so far. The rains have mostly been adequate with supplemental watering. The tomatoes have grown higher than ever, which has made them difficult to corral. The mixture of flowers and vegetables in the raised bed gardens make for a most interesting sideline when one tours the gardens of the committee. We recently saw some pictures on the program committee A very educational trip was made to the Stratford Ecological Center on July 2nd. That was the picture of the chickens. This is a nonprofit organic farm and nature preserve near Delaware. On a hayride, we rode past fields organically managed for the harvesting of grain for the wide variety of their farm animals, a field maintained with prairie grasses, and an area of catalpa and willow, which the Columbus Zoo periodically harvests for food for certain of their animals. The woods were spectacular. They sell eggs from their many chickens and maple syrup from their sugar bush operation. Most of the weeks during the summer are devoted to children's camps where they learn to garden and care for animals. For those new to the community, the village has 46 raised bed gardens on the north and south side of the campus. Every gardener has their choice of what they wish to plant. However, no chemicals or pesticides are permitted. In addition, we encourage the planting of flowers for color and pollination to attract beneficial insects. Several residents have added hardscape art to their plots, which adds even more interest. The movie Fantastic Fungi was shown in May. If you missed it, it is now available for streaming on Netflix. Andy Howland is our landscape manager and liaison. He and his crew refurbish the plots each spring. No regular meetings are held during the year. However, we generally meet in early spring and fall. Sign-ups are in December, and plots are assigned on a first-come basis. Respectfully submitted.
Good morning. At its June 16th meeting, the Library Committee decided to purchase additional large print books this fall, preceded by a culling of older volumes. Books deleted from the large print section will be donated for Alderwood residents. After the new purchases are added to our shelves, an announcement will be made. Several large donations of DVD movies were recently received. These will be added to the DVD carousel soon. To make room for new items, some of the DVDs will be removed and given to the Waterford Activities Department. Things are going better on the newspaper table. I have to tell you, I wrote this before I got the most recent comment on that, and they may not be true. Fewer newspapers are disappearing, and both residents and committee members are happy about it. Almost. We will continue to be grateful for the many donations provided by our residents and their families. Dolores and I look forward to seeing you in the library.
That's a real process when you have hearing aids that can go flying. I'm Audrey Trottier, Chair of the Lifelong Learning Committee. We met most recently on June 9th, and because we have a very small committee, we were able to meet in the art gallery, very pleasant surroundings. Jill Cameron, JC, provided us with a list of all of the events that have been held under our committee. April, May, June, through the end of June, even though it was the 9th. We had a very lively discussion about programs that had been held and those coming up. Then several comments were made that were a little critical. Some of the hearing in here has affected some people that negatively. They have a real trouble hearing in this room. Part of it probably is the people that don't hold the microphones up. Someone else mentioned we don't have much on weekends. Maybe as a population we can think of something like that instead of counting on our staff to do that. Alan was still here and discussed the TED Talks that were coming up. I didn't know what TED stood for. The T is technology, the E is engineering, and the D is design. I found that very interesting. Jill was able to provide us with some upcoming programs. I'm getting a blank here. Some of them, Ed Lentz, as you've seen in your newsletter, will be coming for a series of. If you haven't heard him speak on Columbus area history, you're in for a treat. I hope we let JC and at that time Alan know how much we appreciate their help with our planning.
Good morning. I'm Gene Cahal, substituting for Michelle Walsh, who's on vacation in Vail or someplace like that. Didn't want to be here, decided to be away. I'm pleased to introduce several new neighbors. We're going to ask you to hold our applause. Nobody's applauding today, but today we will applause after this, but after we list all the names. And new residents, hopefully some of you are here. Please either stand or give us a wave to let us know who you are. Janet Brennan moved to Brandywine 258 from Worthington. She was a hospital dietitian in her first life before becoming a mother of 4 daughters and 2 sons. Nancy Russell moved to the Flats 6772-203 from St. Louis. Her daughter and grandchildren live in Dublin. Nancy was a clinical social worker. She is enjoying water aerobics and bridge. Rebecca Gonda moved to Brandywine 329 from Cleveland and Marblehead and Sun City, Florida. She's been around. She had an exciting career in several areas of nursing. She enjoys ceramics, stained glass, lapidary, which is cutting and engraving gems, gardening, and reading. She's involved in art and photography classes here. Bob Jacks moved to Ash Run 338 from Upper Arlington. He is a retired financial systems developer. He enjoys reading financial and current events news, plays bridge, and is an Ohio State and college football fan. John and Shirley Becker moved to Brandywine 408 from Erie, Pennsylvania, where they lived for 65 years. Shirley enjoys bocce, bridge, and socializing. John enjoyed golf with the same friends for over 40 years. Marianne Wrench moved to Riverstone 4308 to Columbus in 2013 from Los Angeles, where she had lived over 50 years. She's married, raised 3 sons, was a sensory integration specialist as an occupational therapist. Now that must have been easy to describe. She and her younger brother, who lives here, are working on a family genealogy together. Doris Mudrock moved to Riverstein 4203 from Upper Arlington. She started teaching art in Worthington, but most of her career was in Bedford near Cleveland. Bill and Eloise Westerman moved to Ash Run 138 from Worthington. Eloise is a former school music teacher and church choir director. Bill is a former pharmacologist. He has been a flight instructor and a founding member of Central Ohio Plein Air, a group of artists who enjoy painting outdoors. They have 2 children here in Central Ohio. Carolyn Crawford moved to Ash Run 574 from Daytona Beach. She was a home worker and worked for the government in Washington. Her son's family, including a 16-year-old grandson, live in Hillard. She enjoys theater, choirs, and playing tennis. Please join me to welcome them, give them a warm welcome.
Good morning to all who are present, and welcome to those who will be watching on a delayed basis. I have just a brief report for you this morning. As you may know, in the workshop, we do both personal projects and service projects for the other residents. During the last quarter, most of the personal projects have been focused on getting ready for the Holiday Bazaar, which is coming on October 16th. Workshop members have also been active serving our community through a number of service projects. The nature of service projects is very wide-ranging, and I want to list several of them for you. And the purpose in my listing these is to kind of prompt you to see if you might have something that we could serve you by repairing. We have repaired in the last quarter 4 lamps that needed rewired, reglued 4 tables and a magazine rack, repaired a walker, repaired a desk drawer runner, secured some bed slats so that they wouldn't fall out and have the bed fall to the floor, fixed a coat tree, loosened a rusty bolt on a patio umbrella stand, drilled drainage holes in a plant tray, cut a carpet protector into 2 carpet protectors, and replaced a battery in bathroom scales. If you have a similar project or something that you think we might help you with, please see Preston Forbes or Don Neff or Dave Stam or myself. We start all of our projects by an assessment to determine whether this is something that we actually have the skill to do. Finally, I'll mention that the printed version of this report has photographs of many of these and some other projects. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm reporting for the Finance Committee this morning. We last met on July 28th, and there were 26 members present. It's an opportunity to meet with Craig and Rita and ask questions and catch up on where we are financing-wise. I want to be sharing some financial data this morning, and I'd like for you to regard this as community information and not information to be talked of on the street. It's rather confidential information. First here is where we are in terms of occupancy. The column in the middle is the number available, and the column on the right is the current occupancy. You can see that between 256 apartments and 224, we have 32 vacancies. That sounds awfully high, and it is, but you know, we just got introduced to new people here. On April 30th, that was 43 vacant, so we've made quite an improvement in the last quarter. The Waterford assisted living is full, and health center is down a bit, but we're still adjusting through COVID and construction, and there's 45 is the budget for the health center, reserving 5 for any emergencies among us in the community. Next is cash on hand, and it sounds like a big number. I just was reading a bit yesterday in terms of the Fitch report, which I'll give you a report on that in a minute, but they like to have at least 500 days. Minimum is 250 of cash on hands, and we can see that we're 947. So very good, healthy position in terms of cash on hands. This is the Fitch rating, not right where we'd like to have it, BBB plus. The top is AAA, and then they're in the 4th position. But because of COVID and because of construction, we're working through those things, and Craig expects this to come up with time. Gain on investments, this is an astounding number, 21.81% last year increase. I know there are people who experienced more than 30% increases in their stock portfolio this past year, but as a manager of finances here, it's on a fiduciary role, and so there's a conservative amount placed in the
fixed income sources and play positions. And so we had a very respectable 21.81% return last year on our investments. Working through COVID, we had grants, on which I don't understand all this, grants of $879,000, almost $880,000 money coming into here to help us through the COVID period. As of January 31, we had spent $702,000, but that did not include any testing that occurred after January 1. So there's been testing that's going on as well, so we're using a bit more of that money for that testing. That's the Financial Committee report. Thank you so much, and see you next quarter.
FVD Book Club meets the second Thursday. I'm sorry. FVD Book Club meets the second Thursday of every month at 2 o'clock in the Kinsel Room. We have 32 members. It's not really a membership. You don't have to join or sign in. Just show up. You don't even have to have read the book. If you just want to come and listen to the enthusiastic discussions that we have, you're welcome. The books are chosen by the members. I ask in October everyone to give me a list of books that they recommend for the following year. I write a summary of the books and give to everybody, and then in November we vote, and we vote until we find 10 books for the next year, January through October. The members are responsible for getting a copy of the book. You can, some people download them on their e-reader or Nook. You can get them from the library. We have 3 libraries close by, the Dublin Library, the Columbus Library, and Upper Arlington Library, or you can buy them on Amazon. We don't read political books, needless to say. We like to have 2 nonfiction books each year, and this year we read, is it up there? We read My Penguin Year by Lindsay McCrae. It was his story of going to Antarctica for a year and studying the emperor penguins. It's just an amazing story. In September, we'll be reading A Most Beautiful Thing. It's the true story of America's first all-black high school rowing team by Arshay Cooper. Thursday is our August meeting, and we'll be discussing Favorite Sons. It's by Robin Yoakum. Mr. Yoakum is a local author. He lives just north of Westerville. 2 years ago, we read his book, A Brilliant Death, which is a story that takes place in Brilliant, Ohio, which is where Mr. Yoakum grew up. I called him and invited him to come to book club, and he came. He spent an hour with us. Everybody was welcome, and it was a lot of fun. A week before we meet, JC posts notice of the meeting on the weekly newsletter, and then a few days before the meeting, I email everyone reminding them of the meeting. If you would like to join book club, I'm in the directory. Just call me or email me, and I'll put you on the list and hope that you would like to come. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you to each of these chairmen who have prepared their reports, and I remind you that those reports will be distributed in print to each of you in the coming couple of weeks. So thank you for your participation. We are happy to have as many as we could in this room and hope that you will encourage your neighbors to watch the YouTube publication of these reports. Thank you and have a great day at Friendship Village of Dublin.